Okay, today we are going to take a look at what is probably one of the rarest Hondo guitars that exists, the UFO. Now, I found this thing on eBay, and the reason I say it is rare is because I see one of these things probably about maybe every 5 years, along with the guitars that Hondo made, like the Sting. It's pretty rare. So anyway, this one came with its own case. There's a couple of stickers, Diodario and Dean Markley, which are guitar string manufacturers. The case itself, other than just some slight wear and tear that should be expected of a 40-plus-year-old guitar, is in pretty good shape. The handle has been replaced by this chain linked together by a car key ring. That's kind of neat. Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, now, at first glance, any Hondo that you buy that is this old, and they're all going to be that old because Hondos were made in the 70s and 80s. Some of them have been made in the 90s by Samick, but the lines were discontinued pretty quick. Anyway, as you can see, the inside of the case is in very good shape. There's no tears anywhere. Onto the guitar itself. Now, the Hondo UFO, this particular one here, it's missing a string, the high E string, and the pickup is not even mounted in there. There's 3 holes here. I'm gonna have to look on some old posters and see what they were kind of doing as a mounting bracket. Now here, this is a sticker that has been added by a previous owner. The UFO designation is right there. Now up here on the headstock, there's no Hondo logo or anything. I've seen some pictures of them when it was right here. There's absolutely nothing there. However, the UFO is only made by Hondo, and yeah, so this is a Hondo. It lacks on the back of the neck the characteristic baseball sticker and any serial numbers. Those are long gone. But this is a true Hondo. Now, at first glance, there's a few things here. I'm not really quite sure what this one hole here is by this little string keep here. Maybe it was an effort to put a bigger one on or something that didn't work out. Up here on the nut, there's somebody's taken a marker and colored a few of these. I don't know why. The fret wear is pretty normal. Fret wear from the 2nd to the 14th fret. That's where most of the wear is. Now, on a guitar that has been played normally by, somebody who's a pretty decent guitar player, you'll have a lot of normal fret wear in this area right here. Not so much up here, and generally the first one doesn't have very much at all on. If you get a hold of a guitar, any guitar, and there is an excessive amount of fret wear, like on 1 or 2 of the frets, that is a clear sign that's probably been owned by a beginner who's been playing the same lick over and over again at that place, trying to get good at it. Very uneven wear. This one has really even wear, so whoever played this either wasn't played a whole lot, or whoever was playing it was pretty good. And this particular guitar would not have been bought probably as a beginner's guitar for anyone. This guitar is a bling guitar. It's not something that somebody would play all the time. If you were in a band and you could afford more than just 1 or 2 instruments, you might bring this out, 1 or 2 songs and play it for, the stage experience for the audience and stuff like that. Oh, wow, look at that guitar. And then you could go back to your regular one. But anyway, back to the guitar. The tuners, I'll flip this over, as you can see, are Grovers. which was standard on this guitar. Pluses and minuses. Interestingly, it's got the Death Dagger neck and headstock. As I mentioned, the Grover tuners, those are very professional tuners. Some of them are a little loose. I'll probably have to tighten them up. Fretwear looks good. The neck looks like it is in pretty good shape. The pickup's not mounted. There's no volume knob, just the pole of the pot. And the input jack, or output jack, excuse me, is, there's nothing wrong with that. On the back of it here, as you can see, these little inlets for the strings, somebody has, looks like, put a molly or something in there. Looks like it's worked, but anyway, that'll probably have to be replaced. The strap locks. This one is missing. This thing, there's no body really to it very much. So if you put, normally where an electric guitar would be, if you put the other strap lock there, it would just keep falling, and the head would just keep falling towards the floor. So that's why it was up here, but it's been removed. So those are the kind of not so good points about this. But like I said, it's a 40-plus-year-old guitar, so it's really in pretty good shape for that. There's a little bit of, somebody has knocked some of the wood off here, and they've just taken a marker and colored over it. I'll probably build that up with body putty and repaint it. Other than that, it's in pretty good shape. This video is going to be in about 3 parts, and I am going to, in the next part, take this off here. Oh, and one more thing. It looks like they've replaced one of these. These all here, these rear bridge adjustments are the same, except for this one. These have, these are adjusted on the height by hex nuts, and this one's a flathead screwdriver. So somebody's put a different piece on there. Probably lost the old one. Other than that, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. I don't know how this guitar sounds. I'm very interested about the pickup, because I think they said this was an X11. I'm not an expert on Hondo pickups. I just know that some Hondos, very few, had DiMarzios in them. I actually have one guitar that should have had DiMarzios in them, but somebody had pulled them out and put something else in. One thing about Hondos that Hondo did not skimp on is pickups. The Hondo pickups are really good and really good sounding. So if you get one with original Hondo pickups on it, I have a Metal Master with single coils, and it sounds fantastic. And I have a bitch knockoff Hondo that has the original humbuckers in it, and they sound really good. And every other Hondo pickup that I've seen sounds just totally fantastic. One of the problems you get with Hondos is that some parts have been replaced or swapped out, and oftentimes people will swap the pickups out. They'll take them and put them on something else and stick something else in there. I've been guilty of that too on a couple of mine. The pick one on the one I told you about, the Les Paul copy that I have, which I'll show in another video. The pickups I really seriously doubt were originals, because they just really didn't sound as good as most Hondo pickups as I've heard. And another one I had to replace the pickups because one of them got damaged really badly. But anyway, we're going to be looking at this, and I'll have to, of course, replace the strings. And Hondo is one of my favorite guitar brands. I think it's one of the best guitars really ever made. A lot of people would laugh at that, but Hondos, I'll just, in closing, say this. There's a lot of guys on videos, YouTube now, that are really great, super fantastic players, and they'll have a Hondo guitar, and they'll say, hey, listen to this. It sounds really awesome. Hondo produced some really high-quality instruments, but the company changed locations of their manufacturing many, many times, and eventually it was acquired by, at least partially, and then fully by Samick. One of the problems at Hondo suffered was consistency. You'd have, for example, a line of Les Pauls that was almost built as good as, the Gibsons they were copying. And then the very next line would just be total crap. I actually came across one of these, what I call the slash style Les Pauls, the ones with no binding or anything on, that just have like one single humbucker at the bridge. And a friend of mine had bought it and wanted me to try to fix it for him, and the neck joint was so swelled up so bad, it was v-braking at the high frets, and there was no way to string it. It was totally trashed. But most other Hondas I've seen and come across that are still actually out there and still in one piece are pretty darn good. So anyway, another problem with Hondo guitars is that they were accused, of course, of being, cheaply made, but, that it usually had to do with maybe some hardware that was kind of low price that was put on them. But, hey, Gibson and Fender have been accused of that too. And, after 40 years, the Hondas are still playing. So I think they've stood the test of time. Anyway, so that's all for now. Next video, I'm going to take this thing apart and show you what's on the inside of it. If you can see down in there's like two big, looks almost like volume knobs stuck down in there. So I don't know, maybe some modifications have been made to this, but I'm really excited to get in there because the electronics cover. Oh, and also, there's only one volume knob. No tone or anything like that, and that was common. That was just, the way they did these things on the Death Dagger, the H1, the one that fans kind of call the Death Dagger, the Sting, which was the one that this was like made to be cut out of, and the UFO. So anyway, I will close this out and see you on the next video.